Hey, welcome everybody to the Christmas Hangout. Um, I've got to put the link in Stunt Hangar, so we'll do that. We'll see, and go over to Stunt Hangar and put the link in. For all the people who are not subscribers and getting notifications, you can get them. You can get it at the bench thread on Stunt Hangar. And here shortly. Friday, new topic. Okay, Christmas Eve hangout. I don't know how Rusty gets all this shit in there. Control V. Christmas Eve. CHRISTMAS. Hangout. Click here to join. CLICK here. HE. Come on. And post it. And I'm going to cancel. No, don't want that. All right, let me see what we got going here. Sorry, Rusty usually comes in and does all this stuff, and he can get everybody on and quickly and all that, but I have a hard time. So normally I would have gone home for Christmas, but tonight, I mean this weekend, I didn't because one of the guys passed away at the shop, and the guy I'm working for needed the help, so I decided to stay in town here for Christmas till after the new year. So what I'm doing, this is my new build. You can find the link to join the hangout on at the bench thread Christmas Eve hangout. Hopefully we can get somebody in here to talk to me because I find it very hard to talk by myself for several hours or whatever. Rusty has no problem doing it. I have a big problem doing it. Okay, so what I'm doing tonight is I'm finishing up my wing. This is a project I started for the, well, you might have seen the intro video a while back, and I haven't done anything on it as far as making films because nobody's asked me for anything. If you want to see something, you guys got to ask me because all this stuff I've done, I've covered over and over and over again ad nauseum. How to mold and how to do different, I don't want to bore you guys to death. So if there's something that you need to know how to do or would like to see me do, drop me a line and I'll get right to it. Not a problem. I'm kind of going to clear up the bench here so I've been really unorganized. My wing weighs 5.5 ounces. I hear you guys, a lot of guys talking about, oh, my wing is 12 ounces. Well, you're going to build light airplanes, it's going to have to be a whole lot lighter than 12 ounces. That's all I got to say. Let me get some of this stuff off of here. Yeah. Let me pull up the chat so I can see if anybody is chatting at me. Okay. Live events. We'll go here. David, Merry Christmas to y'all. David Phelps, Merry Christmas. Let's pull this out. Pop out chat. All right, guys, I can now see that. As I've stated, the link is over on Stunt Hangar. Yeah, there we go. And got 8 viewers. Go to that bench thread. Let's see what Jack said. We said Merry Christmas. And everybody else. Well, this will probably be a short video if I don't get nobody in here to talk to me. So somebody's got to get in here. I'll put these shear webs in the trailing edge while we're waiting for somebody to come on. But I've got to get this mess cleaned up so I can at least move around a little. Well, I got to tell you, I bought some Harbor Freight squares. You get a set of 3 squares like this from Harbor Freight. These are the greatest. I think they're about $9. Get 3 different sizes. You get this size, and one bigger one. I know it was under $10, if I remember correctly. What a deal. Anyway, still working on my other redesigned Junar. The molds have been made. I haven't done the skins, but I have built the fuselage and the elevator stabilizer and cut the rudder. I've got, basically I could put this airplane together if I was at home in a day. So we're going to need that. We don't need this anymore. And we're going to need, I was going to do solid wingtips, but as I stated, this wing is 5 5.5 ounces, but it'll be around 6 ounces or so with the wingtip weight box in it, and then we add the bell crank, this and the other. So I was going to do solid wingtips on this, but I just can't give up the weight. So I'm going to use my perimeter wingtips just like on an I-beam. So let's do this. Oh, this stupid thing without a swivel on it can't hardly get it around. Yeah, I've cut up a bunch of cap strip material. I've cut it 3/16 of an inch wide because that's what I use. A lot of guys use 1/4 inch. Some guys use, I saw that guy the other day, 5/8 of an inch. That's a little much. But how I do it is just like this. Got to make these fit perfect. And I do mean perfect. Fit and finish. That's one way to get a light airplane. Fit and finish. See how perfect that joint is there? Just come down, make it a little long. You can always sand it off. You can't hardly, or cut it off. You can't hardly cut it back on. And we're not in a rush, so now you'll notice that it's a little long. You don't want to force it. What forcing does is it will warp the wing. So it has to fit down in there without forcing it. So get a little sandpaper here. Normally it's just a little edge you got to knock off. And you don't want it to fit loose because that loose gap will make it look like crap when you cover it. The covering will suck down in there. What happened to my big sanding block? I already had a set of wingtips covered or cut out. Oh, sanding, no, that ain't it. No, there it is. And I'll probably look around for them. I've been waiting on my good wood to come from Stunt Hangar Hobby, but I didn't get it. But I didn't want to let that stop me from building, so I went to Radical RC and I dug through 60 sheets of 3/32, and I ended up getting 10 sheets that that were 5-pound wood. A lot of guys would just go ahead and we don't need to weigh it or whatever. I had to unbundle all that wood that he had there and look through every sheet. They were all bagged up. And I said, hey, I'm going to buy some wood from you, but if you won't let me weigh it, I'm not going to buy any. But if you let me weigh it, I'll buy all that falls within that 18-gram mark.
Hey, Sparky.
Hey, what's going on, Charles? Glad you could make it.
Yes, I was thinking about you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, man.
I'm still in Dayton. I was going to go home, but we had a guy pass away at work. And so Jerry needs the help. Because we got guys there where I'm working. We had one guy come in from the job service. He lasted one day. And he just packed up his shit. What do you think we got going on here? This is work here.
Wow. That's amazing.
You can't get anybody to work.
I mean, the pay obviously is good for you to be able to live in Ohio and still have some money left over to make it worth your while.
Oh, it's definitely worth my while.
That's great.
I mean, I'm not making as much money as I was as a Harley mechanic, but I got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Plus he's a flyer, and I'm a real loyal guy. Once, as a club member, I don't know how much you know about me, but I have the club mentality as a motorcycle club member.
Right.
Once we're club brothers, I mean, you just don't walk away.
That's cool.
So
yeah, I've seen those Durablocks before. Obviously they're pretty good, huh?
I like them a lot. This block is hard as a rock, but it's light as balsa wood.
Wow. I have mostly I have is those Great Plains sanders. I have like 4 of them, different lengths. They're aluminum and they're easy to grip and hold, you know.
Yeah, but if you, I mean, you can dig out something really easy with the corner of one of them things.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I rounded the corners and taken off a little bit of the edge off of the hard edges. Yeah, because you're right. You can definitely, you're not conscious of what you're doing every moment. You can definitely do more bad than good.
Let's see what this weighs. It's, I mean, it's not contest wood, but it's very light. I'd say it's probably 10 ounces, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know, maybe less.
I like your balsa storage system you got there.
Those are boxes out of it's 5 ounces.
Wow, that is light.
This one, I think, it's real light. It weighs 2.5 ounces.
Very cool.
So they don't beat you up while you're working.
Yeah.
I got those boxes out of some toolboxes and some trucks I'm working on at work. You know, the toolboxes come in, I got to mount them on the truck, and the hardware for the mounting brackets came in these, and I got, let's see, I probably I got enough to fill the whole kitchen up with them. I mean,
That's cool. I've always been trying to figure out an efficient way to store my balsa. You know, I have an assortment of kits, you know, that are been built, and I've just hung on to the boxes, and I use those to store wood. You know, I just write on a Sharpie what's in it, you know. But I can't like it. Yours is at a glance. You can see what you have. I have to open up each box each time to look at it.
well, in '91, maybe it was '89. Shaver's Hobby used to be down on Virginia, and I had a regular SIG display box that Art gave me, and I didn't think nothing of it. I just when I moved, I just threw it away. That stupid box is $150.
Yeah. Now you used to get it free if you made a big enough order, right?
Right. You building anything?
You know what? I'm gonna get back focused on it. I'm building a built-up Pathfinder. All I have completed is just the engine crutch and a couple bulkheads.
So nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm in denial, but yeah, the truth of the matter is, I got to get back on it. And but I really am serious about getting going because it's been to my detriment not having a plane that I built in so many ways, you know.
Well, especially if you fly any contests that are for appearance points.
Yes, yeah. So that's one of the most important things for me. But also, even the pride, you know, of building something and fly something you build too.
Most definitely. Damn, I can't believe I cut that too short. Next. Who will? Yeah, I can't fly other people's stuff. It just, I don't know. I've been doing this so long, build my own airplane so long, and I just can't bring myself to flying somebody else's stuff.
Wow.
And
I help some junior pilots by flying their planes for them so that I don't want them to have it to be more difficult to do the maneuver than it has to be. If the plane is not flying right, and I want to see what it's doing, and then I'll adjust it so it'll fly better. before they go before they go inverted, I want them to see that the plane, it's not going to do anything crazy when it goes inverted, and it can. So that's very helpful because, when you're a beginner pilot, I mean, you're just so excited just to fly. You have no idea uh, how the plane should be flying, and that's how it was for me.
Well, once it's flying, I can tell better from the outside than I can from the inside. As far as trim goes. That's why I kind of miss Ron. He used to watch my airplane, but he was good at trimming.
Yeah, I'm still trial and error, trying this, trying that, see what it does, so I can kind of add data to my database as far as what that does, what kind of effect that has. And I'm always just trying to push the plane to see if I can get to flying better. And so I've been, I got that vector back together just, right before the official day of the contest. But since then, I've been trimming that plane and getting it to fly better and better and better. And today I went flying today, and it's so far the plane's flying the best it's ever has. But I'm still looking to see how much better I can get it to fly.
Well, Ted Fancher wanted me to, or he said something about at the handle or whatever, and I volunteered him to be the moderator.
Uh-huh.
That's probably going to turn out to be a pretty good forum.
Oh yeah, I'd love to be able to talk to Ted about the handle. I mean, that's I'm constantly making sure my handle is vertical and trying to figure out what's going on with the plane. And so any information would be very helpful with me.
I tell you, who is a good guy is tell you what you're doing wrong or whatever is Art at a Mission. He knew more about body language, or still does. He's still alive. He's just kind of out of it. Body position and body language makes a big difference.
Yeah, I watch other pilots myself too. I try to see if I can pick up their body cues, and I'm always curious.
I want you to do overhead eights like David Fitzgerald.
Oh, I know. My goodness. I mean, I've squatted down and tried to bend over, and I don't do it consistently like he does.
I tell you what, he wouldn't be squatting down flying any of my airplanes.
Why is that?
Motor offset.
Oh, okay.
And he don't run any motor offset. That's why he's got to squat down on the ground. I got no line tension overhead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've listened to you. I mean, I've this plane that I'm building now, I have about 2 degrees, I think, offset at least.
Well, I'll tell you what, you'll thank me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it makes sense.
Brett Buck, he wants 0 motor offset, and this guy wants 0. You guys can run 0 all you want, but I'll take my 3 degrees so that the airplane's pulling me off the ground and overheads.
Right. Yeah, I would like to talk to Dave Fitzgerald more about one thing I don't understand is why he whips the plane before he goes into the hourglass, and he also whips it.
Overhead eights. I do the same thing.
You do?
Oh yeah. Airspeed. You want as much airspeed as you can in the first turn of the hourglass because you're bleeding off airspeed so bad by the third corner you're almost down to a stall. And then as far as the overheads go, you're coming into the wind and turning up, So you want as much airspeed as you know can muster before that turn up, so that it goes over the top, or at least gets up to the top. And then once it's overhead, you're all right. But I do the same thing. I always whip. You watch that. All my flights. Watch that flight I posted on the new airplane. Whip into the hourglass and whip into the overhead.
Okay. Now the overhead, does a person have to be at level and then go straight up? Why can't they just gradually ascend and then go up to the top? Because the maneuver doesn't start until you're at right overhead, right?
Technically, you're correct. But if you do that, you won't get a score. It's been flown like a wing over for so long. I mean, uh, wait a minute. It does say in the rule book entries at level flight upwind. So yeah, you got to do it upwind.
Okay.
And you won't score for shit. And same with the pullout. Now, I used to do it until people ragged on me. Instead of pulling out upright on the other side of the overhead eights, pull out
Right.
or the four-leaf clover. That's what it was. After you do your four-leaf clover and you go over the top and you pull out on the other side, instead of turning upright, turn inverted and see what the judges say. It's legal as long as you do 2 full laps after the maneuver, upright. So if you got fuel, you can kind of screw around. But these old guys got no sense of humor.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back.
All righty. The thread to join Stunt Hangar is at the bench thread. The Christmas thread. Merry Christmas. Come on in and join us. You don't bite. Exactly. Okay, so I guess I could knock them down. Do not sand your sheeting. After it's on the wing, you'll end up with a starved horse. Only sand the cap strip. Of course, I'll go back over it several times, detailing sanding it. There we go. Now we're going to do the shear webbing. For all you naysayers that I tell people what my stuff weighs. A lot of guys lie about it. I think this is either 5.5 or 5 3/4 ounces for a wing. Let's see if you can get on that. You can see the scale. And yeah, you'll be able to see it there. On. Five. I don't know if you can get to see in there or not. Can you see that, Charles?
Yeah, 560.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to show everybody that I wasn't BSing,
Wow, that is light.
And if it ain't that light, you ain't gonna have a light airplane. Not just the way it is.
Wow. Yes.
Let's see here. I will probably stay on till about well, unless we get more lively. Stay
All
on.
right.
Stay on for an hour. What are we gonna do here?
I have a question for you. When you put the bell crank in and you have the flap horn in and you're trying to align it all so that the bell crank is straight and the flap horn is, you know, 90 degrees, how do you do that? Because the wing is, you have the airfoil shape, and to make
Well,
sure your flap is straight out from the leading edge.
if you have a lost foam cradle like this, set it. I mean, it's real simple. This here is a elevator horn, but same principle.
Right.
I stick it in there, and you can measure up from the bench, or you can jig it up with a block to get those straight, and then just adjust the push rod accordingly so that the bell crank's in there straight. Now, whether you know it or not, you're not supposed to put your flap horn in straight up and down. That's the wrong geometry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it has to be leaning forward. I can't remember how many degrees. It has to be bent so that the upright is leaning forward, but you have to bend it that way, but that the tongs for the flap rods are sticking level. So I think it's about 4 degrees forward, and then the bell crank has to be square, and that way, when you're swinging through the movement, the geometry stays the same. Otherwise, you get a faster movement one way or the other.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that in my planes, they kind of fly like that, the latter part, so I've been adjusting it to get it to, with the push rods and stuff, to get it to fly more equidistant,
If it wasn't done like I said with that 4 degree, you'll never get it out of there because it's built into it.
Right. Now, do you get your lead outs, once you have it all set, do you get your lead outs whether they're exactly the same distance and beyond the wingtip as well?
I leave them out. Yeah, I got a foot sticking out there. I just tape them up on the wingtip so that the bell crank's straight. The bell crank won't move, and then put the flap horn in there, measure jigged up like I just told you, and then measure the push rod, make the push rod, or let it slide back and forth. If you're using the ball length, you can adjust it in and out or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But the lead outs, do you have them exactly the same length coming out the window?
I do, yes. That's the very last thing I do. The airplane's painted, and I mean that's the very last thing I do. I've got the flaps put in it. The whole air. That's like bench trimming. I wind the lead outs the very last thing, and I try to make my lead outs equal so that I can use the lines,
Right.
from other airplanes.
Yeah, I just got for Christmas at Tom Morris line wrapping jig.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to using that.
I like my Jim Lee clothespin.
Yeah, I'm using a fly fishing bob to basically do that, to wrap it. That works pretty good.
I'm going to have to make another run back to St. Louis just so I can get some real glue. They don't have any Bob Smith glue here. And I got this cheapy glue.
And you buy pretty big quantities of glue, right? You're just a builder. I've seen some pretty large bottles at your bench and back in Ohio. I mean, back at home. I mean, Missouri.
I usually buy it in bulk by the pint. It's $30 for a pint or $10 a bottle. So, you know, and you get 4 bottles, so you save $10.
Do you buy it online?
No, I buy it at Schaefer's Hobby. You can get it online.
Yeah, the hobby stores that I've been to, they don't have quantities that big.
I buy the kicker in that same quantity too. Buy the big kicker bottle like this.
Yeah, right.
This is that's only $11.99 for that big bottle. Or you can buy the little bottle for $7. You know, it don't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And kicker seems to last forever, it seems like. I mean, unlike the CA. Has that been your experience as well?
Well, I use kicker as much as the CA too. I've got aerosol cans of kicker. You ever seen that?
No, I've never seen that.
Great Plains aerosol kicker. It works pretty good. For some reason, my stupid glue bottles hung up again.
So you put those, you tape on some tips. Is that what you do?
Yeah, I buy the what do I call it? I buy 6 foot of micro tubing for $3. House of Balsa, and put the tips on it so I can reach in there. And plus, it really controls the glue better than just trying to get it on there in a bottle.
Right. When I'm doing a repair, I use pipettes. But if I was building a plane, I probably need to use your system. And pipettes, you know, are good for a little small repair, but not to assemble a wing, you know. And microtubing is basically a Teflon tube, right?
Yeah, it's Teflon micro tubing.
Yeah.
And it's good to reach in so that you can detail glue everything. I got my finger stuck. Shit. But it only works with thin CA. You don't want to try to put thick CA through it. I use 3/32 sheeting because I feel that it looks better than 16. And you just got to pick your wood good. Do not settle for 8-pound wood.
Yeah, I went through all my wood and separated it and weighed it several months ago. Now it's hot and heavy on building. And so I found some fuselage sides. I think they're about 5-pound wood. That was about the lightest I had.
Here's what you do. Go through and weigh every piece that you have. Then go to Stunt Hangar, and at the top it has the balsa density calculator.
Yeah, I was using that. It's a great tool.
and go in there and then categorize it. And anything over 6 pounds, and 6 pounds is on the outside. I mean, that's really up there if you ask me. Sell it to the RC guys. Don't even think about using it.
Okay.
I got a whole, about a half a truckload of RC wood. You know, I won't use that. It's not worth wasting your time.
Right. There's no way you can build a light plane if you're using heavy wood.
Now, Bob Hunt will tell you, you got, how does it work? If you got 1/8-inch wood that's 8 pound, use 16th wood that's 4 pound or some shit like that. Or no, how does it work? You got 4 pound eighth, you can use 16 pound 16th inch 4 pound or some crap like half or whatever it is.
Right.
Don't buy that either. Use light wood and be done with it. I don't know. Hunt would have to kind of explain it. You can build reliable. Let's see. You could build in reliability, Ron, and we know the glue is right. I don't know what that meant.
Let me get the pop-up chat. I have it. I don't even have the chat showing. I'm going to fix that now.
We have 7 watchers. I can't believe we can't get these guys to participate.
Yeah, I guess they just enjoy watching or listening. You know, I know that when I was working in my garage, I thought I would just listen, you know, I can still get some stuff done. I got the pop-up chat, so I can keep an eye on it.
That's good because
I know you got your back to it. You probably can't see it all the time.
my back's to the screen.
Yeah. I was expecting Kevin Muckleroy to join us. I was flying with him earlier today.
Well, does he know that we're on?
Yeah, he actually has been. He actually said, "I'll see you later" on the Google Hangout today, so he knows how to get in the video.
This is the first wing I've done with pocket hinges.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Well, it'd be something.
Now the hinges that you make yourself. Aren't those pocket hinges? Or those? This is something different you're talking about.
Yeah, my hinges.
Okay.
I normally don't inset it into the trailing edge of the wing.
Okay.
But I've been wanting to do this, and because of where I'm at, and my friend John having a hot wire, he redesigned the wing to do pocket hinge. You kind of got to think all this shit through before you start doing it. You know, what are you going to do?
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of thinking going on in this hobby. 'Cause the plane's already built, and actually I am making an access panel so I can adjust my push rod. And I spent a lot of time thinking how I'm going to do this, because I wanted it to have some rigidity. So I was going to have some 1/64, I think, or 1/16 plywood as well in it. And I spent a lot of time just thinking about how to do it.
Cut a hole and put a piece of tape over it.
Yeah, I have enough planes that have that. I don't like how it looks. Hey, Steve Hines is coming in.
Shoot.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing well. How are you?
Not too bad.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. You too, Sparky.
You too. You guys are stuck with me tonight, Rusty. Rusty's doing whatever he does.
Yeah, he said he was kind of had the night off or whatever. Boy, that's looking really nice.
Yeah, it took a couple of days to build.
Got all the cap strip all sanded in and everything like that.
Yeah, basically. I'm working on. There's a whole lot to do, so I don't know what I'm working on. I'm working on it, shit as it goes. I need my pen.
I'll get some flaps made up for it. And
yeah, I get the flaps on it, and I want to see what it's all going to weigh. This flap here is kind of concerning. It weighs 1.25 ounces.
Wow.
Well, that's light. That's light in Al Rabe's world, but not in mine.
I usually shoot for like 1 ounce before I sand it. I don't know if that's good or bad, or that's about the best I ever get. I've had heavier than that though.
I like 1/2 ounce flaps myself. I'm gonna look and see if I get another piece of 3/8 here or not. Working here, I'm kind of at a disadvantage.
Yeah. Now, I've heard different, people there on the forum and stuff talking that you needed harder, heavier wood for flaps because they're more stable or whatever, and they won't move around. So I really don't know.
I use the lightest piece of wood I can find.
No matter what, huh?
That's right. No matter what. Wendy, you'll see all the time with sea grain and shit. This thing weighs 4 ounces. No thanks. Al Rabe puts, embeds carbon fiber tube on the front.
Trying to stiffen them up, yeah.
Stiffen them up. Shit, what do you need them stiffened up for? That don't make no sense. Put on some tissue and they'll be stiff enough. This airplane here, I'm going to finish like I finished my Monado. We're going to, well, not exactly. We're going to see if we can't lighten it up. I ordered Japanese tissue from England.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to carbon fiber the wing or the whole airplane, and then Japanese tissue the whole airplane.
Oh. Yeah, I should be stiff enough then.
It'll never be stiff enough, but I want it light enough.
On earlier videos, Sparky, you said you didn't care for carbon fiber. You thought you did tests between silk spanning and carbon fiber, and you thought silk span was better.
It is. However, I'm going to carbon fiber. Okay, let me make this clear so everybody understands why I say what I say. I'm going to carbon fiber this airplane because it does add some hardness. It'll make the wood hard. It doesn't add any strength, in my opinion. It's a lot light. It's a lot heavier to finish than silk span. However, if I'm going to Japanese tissue this whole airplane, that's where the real strength's going to come from. And I don't like to use the carbon bale because it takes too much dope, but I do like it for it's making the wood hard. But putting the Jap tissue over it, it will use less dope. You got my, I'm just giving it a try. It's an experiment.
All right.
Yeah, I tried that like that. I still got to paint the damn thing. With a Cavalier, I did all the wood with carbon fiber. Then I used polyspan and tried that, and that worked pretty good. And it's like I didn't worry about getting all the fibers stuck down or whatever, because it kind of swells. And once I put the polyspan on there, it stopped all that swelling. But that was my thinking next time with Jap tissue doing that, and see if that Jap tissue will hold all the fibers down in place and not let them pop up. And I think it could be fairly light, like you're saying.
Never done it. I'm going to try it. Now, I like polyspan, but it's too heavy. It takes too much dope to fill.
Yeah.
But it's great as far as puncture proof.
I gotta let the dog out.
Who let the dogs out?
Oh!
Yes. Steve did. Steve let the dogs out.
Well, I wonder if I'm going to get this down to ½ ounce.
Come on, baby. Hey, come on. Cindy, come on. Come on, baby.
I hope we get some more people on here so we can sing Christmas carols.
No. Come on, Minnie. You start them, Sparky, and we'll join right in.
I need to have the words. I don't know all the words.
Well, it's been a long time since I went caroling.
Me too. Like never.
I'd go with my mom when the one church that she went to and stuff, and I'd go to once in a while. She liked to carol and go out, so I'd always take my mom out and go Christmas caroling. And
that's cool.
But I always had to have all the words written down on a piece of paper, otherwise I forgot them.
Yeah, I mean, I know the majority of the songs. I mean, I know, maybe 90% of the words or 95%, but, I just hate mumbling because I don't know the word.
Yeah.
Or the ones I don't know,
But yeah, that was in the early 90s, the last time I ever did that. So Mom got where she can't walk or anything, so she can't walk through the snow and all that. So but that was the only. I need my mom to be on pitch or on key or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Because I don't know, in church when we were kids and stuff, I always sang next to her so much that and my mom's a really good singer, and she could always put me right in the right pitch. So because I'll get someone else that'll sing off tune, man, it'll mess me all up.
Yeah.
Somebody hits some sour notes there, and I'm all where my mom can just keep right on going. It don't matter who's singing or how they're singing or whatever. She can stay right on pitch. And so I always follow my mom. But
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I remember my mom singing next to me in church too. I don't know, there's just something about it. It's special,
You know, I thought it was special, but I kind of realized later is that she didn't trust me, so that's why she made me sing right next to her.
Yeah, she didn't want you to embarrass her, right? So help you stay on pitch.
Yeah. No, it was a deal that we'd be messing around or something, and then spanking would come after church and stuff.
Well, when I was very very young, my dad was in the Navy, and so we went to the chapel on base, and so that's even more regimented, strict, adherence, to being quiet, and reverent, just because of the military. So there was no fooling around when I went to church when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, with me and my cousin, my brother, I mean, we were always poking at each other or getting somebody, I don't know, doing something. We'd always get in trouble in church. But
Hey, Spark, you remember that church on that chapel on base in Miramar?
At Miramar?
Yeah.
No, I never went to church at Miramar.
Okay, that's the church I went to when I was really little. My parents took us there to church first, then we went to the commissary, and that was a big day. Oh, going to the you call the exchange? Went to commissary, exchange, and
I
church,
remember that where that was.
and even the cafeteria. That was a good deal too. So it was a pretty long day between church, cafeteria, the exchange, and the commissary.
yeah, my mom always said she loved doing that too, going to the commissary and stuff. My dad was in San Diego, and then the last year when he came back into San Francisco. I'm not sure what bases are where, or Navy bases are where.
And my first job, I think, was at the commissary as a box boy.
Oh,
It was
good.
all tips. It was all
Okay.
tips, and you couldn't believe the money you'd make there. I mean, if you wasn't fast, you had to share the line with another person. But if you was fast, then you get all the tips. You would have to split it, and it wasn't hard to average almost $20 an hour in tips.
Oh, yeah.
Was your dad an Airedale too? Charles?
Was he an Airedale? What's an Airedale?
In the Navy as an airman.
No, he was a what was he? I want to say HTC.
Well, he was a helicopter guy.
No. He what do you call that? Whole
What was his rate again?
H as in Harry, T, Tom, C, Charlie.
Yeah, that's a helicopter technician.
And I must have the wrong acronym because he was basically a carpenter, but I thought his rating had to do with the hull.
No.
Maybe that stands for hammers, tacks, and
No, I mean he did
clamps.
he did a lot of things. I mean he did welding, electrical, but his specialty was carpentry in the Navy.
Yeah, my dad went in as a machinist, and then he ended up being he went from somehow he was going to be on a carrier as a machinist, and then he ended up being put on a destroyer, and they had no machinist there or something, I don't know. So he became a cook. He had his choice to be a bosun's mate or a cook. He took cook.
Should have been a bosun's mate. I was an AMS. Painter of gray.
Painter of gray, huh?
Well, my actual job was tin bender, sheet metal mechanic. But I kind of ran the corrosion control crew. So when I say painter of gray, I didn't paint ships. I painted airplanes.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of painters of gray in the Navy who painted ships.
Right.
That's the bosun's mate, isn't it?
That's everybody aboard ship. Ship's company is a painter. Everybody paints. But in the squadrons, the only guys who are painters are the corrosion control guys. Paint on airplanes.
Oh, okay.
I did this. I had the same job as Danny Banjock.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't realize he painted airplanes.
He worked on the same airplanes. No, he didn't paint them. He was an AMS. He was a tin bender.
Oh, okay.
Like me. But in the aviation structure mechanic is airframes and maintenance, AMS. And if you were a hydraulics guy, you were an AMH. If you were a jet mechanic, you were ADJ. But in the airframes division, everybody, you know, he was an AMS, I was an AMS, but my specialty was corrosion control. So instead of bending metal in IMH or whatever, I painted airplanes and took care of all the problems that you can't believe how many problems, what kind of problems corrosion at sea can do. I mean, it'll eat your airplane right up.
Yeah. Well, doesn't Banjack now he still does works with fuselages and all that kind of stuff, right?
He has an A&P license. I should have got my A&P license, but I didn't. I wanted to be a Harley mechanic instead. There we go. That's nice.
Same thing, except one's on wheels and one goes in the air, huh? Mechanic's a mechanic just about, but gotta work on something. That's like I always say, I'm just a glorified car mechanic.
We used to shadow box our toolboxes in the Navy. I still shadow box my toolbox. That way I can look right in the drawer and go, hey, you got my wrench. Hey, there's a socket missing.
Would you use foam to do that? What would you use to shadow box it?
Yeah, foam. Airplane can't fly until that box is full. Well, I can hardly, I can't go home until I find the tool that's missing out of my box.
They frowned on leaving sockets inside of jet engines and stuff like that, huh?
No, yeah. Nothing flies in a squadron if there's a tool missing. Till that tool's found.
That's a good discipline to have.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think I got the flap down to?
I don't know. Wait and see. Shouldn't it be close to? I always figure 3/4 of what it weighed originally. Some people say half, but you're really not taking half off.
This started out as an ounce, so the other one's a little heavier, the outboard. At least the heavy one's on the outside. They use less tip weight.
Right.
Shit, they didn't take crap off there. It's 0.9. Took 1/10 off of it. It's straight though, and it's airfoil. I got a big mess in the carpet though.
Hey guys, I have a question. On my Vector, I have the weight box full. Yeah, the wingtip weight box is full, and I'd like to add some more weight. What do I do?
Add some clay.
Clay.
some modeling clay, same color as your airplane, and put it underneath the wingtip and a big, like putting bubble gum on there. That's what Howard Rush does.
Okay.
So they got me, you know, Samantha trimming an airplane. We may throw like say 3/4 of an ounce in there or ½ ounce, and then just start with the modeling clay. Take it off, put it on, and then once we're done, then we weigh the clay, and I'll match the lead to the clay on the scale, and then put, you know, it could be a ½ ounce, it might be a little over a ½ ounce or whatever we feel. I know Chris Rudd, he leaves a clay right, he gets it close, and then whatever he puts on for clay, he leaves on there. He doesn't go back and put the lead in there. He doesn't really care.
I don't know how you guys end up with more than every airplane I got here does not have a ½ ounce of wingtip weight in it.
Yeah, I'm wondering, that's what I was contemplating. I'm wondering if something's wrong if I have to use that much tip weight.
Well, I don't know. Wendy says 1 to 3 ounces of tip weight, depends on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand.
You got a 1/4 ounce, and the plane got loose on me today. I mean, not scary loose, but I noticed it, and I thought, well, if I put it back, they'll fly like it did before. But what if I had a little bit more tip weight? I might see an advantage, and that's kind of what. But the box is full.
How much you got in it now?
Yeah, I don't know how much weight that box holds, but I imagine it's at least 1/4 ounce. I mean, 1 1/4 ounces. I'd imagine at least that.
You using 18 thousandths lines, 80-foot long, or what?
I'm using 15 thousandths, 63-foot long.
If you got 15 thousandths lines and you got more than a ½ ounce, I mean, see, all the lines are for is to offset the weight, or the weight, tip weight is to only offset the weight of the line.
Right.
If you're using 18s or 21s, I could see having, you know, a buttload of wingtip weight. But with 15s, I don't understand why.
Yeah, you know, with Samantha's airplane, we never add usually no more than a ½ to 3/4 on her one airplane. But figure that weight box weighs probably ½ ounce.
Right.
So you know, in the old days when they put, you know, without a tip box, you know, they put a bunch of weight in there, but you know, and like Wendy, he builds a huge tip box. That thing's got to weigh 1 ounce. I don't understand why you ever need any tip weight.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm doing something wrong.
No, you're not doing nothing wrong. There's just something wrong with the airplane.
Yeah.
You might have to tweak a flap.
Here's the pocket hinge installed for the wing. The zero gap.
Wow.
Now, will you be able to remove the hinges out of that?
No,
Oh.
I don't go for all that removable this and take apart that, because all that is weight.
Yeah, because I know Bob Hunt was saying something about he was going to use your hinge way and with pocket stuff like that, but he was going to make it so that it would unhook and he could stick in a different flap if he wanted to make it bigger, smaller.
You could do that fairly easy. I just don't want to do it because I've got it pretty much figured out what I got to have here. Well, I took 1/10 off, so that's 6 grams. Unreal. Yeah, sand on that some more. Get it? Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Sand on that one tomorrow.
Like I said, you know, I hear people say they get half off there. I don't believe it.
It started out 1 ounce.
Yeah.
And I tapered it and airfoiled it. and it only dropped 6 grams.
Yeah, I know. I mean, people get a lot of. I don't see how they get a lot off there because
It's called BS.
you know, if you take off half the weight, I mean, half the balsa would have to be gone.
Not only that, you'd have half the strength.
Yeah. You know, that's so I don't understand all that, but
I call BS. You want a light flat, you start with light wood.
yeah.
Like I said, I would have liked to seen a ½ ounce, but this is what I have, so I'll look around and see if I got another piece of 3/8. I know I got a piece of half that I could sand to 3/8 for the outboard, but there again, I'm going to be adding tip weight, so.
Right. And that's the other thing. So if you're going to add a ½ ounce of tip weight, why not just have stronger balsa wood for that flap? If it's heavier, it's going to be stronger. It ain't going to warp or move or anything else. And the plane will come out the same amount of weight because you don't have to put the ½ ounce out in the weight box.
Well, the theory behind that is good. However, it's better to build it as light as you can so you can concentrate the weight where you want it.
Oh, okay.
I had Joe Daly send me a bell crank set up. The concept that I saw work, makes a lot of sense. I'm probably going to try it, but I'm going to make my own. Where the push rod doesn't go inside the wing, it goes on top of the wing.
Oh yeah, that's how Bob Hunt's doing his now. So
That's Joe Daly's idea.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. And the bell crank he sent me was just so heavy, I didn't use it. But I got a carbon bell crank. I think I can cobble together and make that setup. And I want to try some new things on this airplane, but I don't want to get so far out of the norm that it's not predictable.
Yeah. Well, what I don't understand is that now I understand that it throws a less of an angle on the push rod. So then if you bring that up at 90, now do you use a straight horn on the flap horn, or do you still do that one with the 90-degree bend in it?
Well, it's a funny thing you should ask. It can be straight up and down.
Oh, okay.
Because it's at a straight angle. Instead of having a 4 degrees leaning forward.
Okay. That's what I was kind of wondering.
Now these guys at the Nets, Bob McDonald, Chris Rudd, they got some type of goofy setup where the push rod goes all the way to the elevator and then it comes back, and they got adjustable.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to reinvent the wheel or the mousetrap,
Right.
We have the next latest, greatest, cool thing. All that shit unnecessary. I read a thing today on that. I think it was might have been Ted Thatcher about the 4-inch bell crank. Gotta have a 4. No, you don't need a 4-inch bell crank, and they feel exactly the same. It makes absolutely no difference whether you have a 4-inch or a 3-inch bell crank as far as the feel of the airplane. What matters is where you drill a pivot. I can slow a 3-inch bell crank to act exactly like a 4-inch bell crank. Can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Hey guys, there's some questions on the pop chat. Jeffrey Riley Hey, Sparky, is there any reason you don't like the forward swept trailing edge on the Juno?
I have built quite a few forward swept trailing edge airplanes. Let's see, I think. Oh, this one has. There's nothing wrong with it. This airplane here has a forward swept trailing edge. That was my I can't remember what number Viper that was, but that's from the late 80s, early 90s. And no, this Viper here had a straight trailing edge. Look at how young I was there.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Here's a way back one.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
I was young there too. So, as far as not liking the swept forward trailing edge, nothing wrong with it. It moves the center of pressure forward.
So you got your answer there, Jeffrey Riley.
Well, I have quite the mess going here.
Get out the dust buster.
Yeah. Won't be able to run the vacuum until tomorrow. It's too noisy.
Oh, okay.
11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's just about 11, isn't it?
This flap is, the outboard flap is really stiff, but it's heavy. I want everybody to look at this to see you can see the difference. Can everybody see the difference in size between inboard and outboard flap?
Yeah, I see it.
You have less area. You have less area in length, but more area in chord at the tip and at the chord, at the root. On the outboard.
Okay.
Equal panel or different?
These are different length panels. The inboard is inboard 3/4 of an inch longer than the outboard.
Okay.
The reason you need more, you got to really pay attention to what's going on. If you ever look at Billy, and Chris Rudd's trying to copy him too, I guess, you'll notice that every airplane he's got has a little tab on the outboard side of the wing. Every airplane he's got. You notice that?
Yeah.
Do you know why that is?
No, I thought it was a warp or something.
No. You need more area on the outboard side because the wing is moving slower. So instead of you'll never see tape on my hinges, you'll never see tabs on my wings. So instead of putting a goofy tab on the stupid thing, why not just build a flap bigger so you don't have to put a tab on it?
Yeah, why not?
It's called stagger. And so, I say a lot of things and nobody pays attention to what I'm talking about. But just think ahead. You know that you're going to have to have a tab out there because it's going to drop a wing. Every time you come down, the wing drops. Well, the wing drops because you got too much tip weight in it from whatever. So I only use a 1/4 ounce, and you build the airplane so that it can carry that small amount of tip weight. Instead of dumping the weight in it, engineer the airplane to work with, stagger. You're loading the airplane like a sprint car, because it's only going left. That makes any sense?
Yeah. Samantha hates a damn tab on her airplane. She cannot stand it.
Well, build it right.
Yeah.
And if the wing is not flying level, you'll never see me tweak flaps either. Never. I steam the wing straight. If it's flying, you know, the wing's flying like this, whatever, you just look into the wing and see which way the wing needs to be steamed and steam it and twist it straight. Keep the flap straight, because if you bend the flaps, yeah, that'll correct the position of the wing at an angle of attack. But when you're up here, it changes because you tweak the flaps. So if you got them straight, it don't matter which way it's pointed.
Yeah.
All them guys tweaking flaps and adjusting this and putting tabs and all that crap on there, they're not thinking. I have built hundreds of airplanes, and it's the only reason why I know that is from practical experience. I don't have an engineering degree. I'm not all that good at math. I don't need I can read a ruler, and that's part of my job, but I mean, you don't need a ruler to build an airplane. No way. I don't. Well, that looks about right. Click. That's it. And then we just build from there.
Yeah, I know one thing it is. You got to have that wing straight, because you just get all kinds of problems. If people think, oh, that's pretty good. Now, anytime you hear pretty good, it's not good.
Perfect is not close enough.
Right. That's what we're finding out. Say, oh man, that's the best one we ever did, and still fly like crap.
Well,
Samantha and I built some really dog of an airplane.
First, number one thing. Now, you can listen to Hunt, you can listen to Brett, you can listen to anybody. It doesn't matter. My opinion only matters to me. First thing I'm looking for is light. Lighter the better. You can't build it light enough. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's ever built an airplane light enough. It's just impossible. And straight, rigid. You got to build enough strength in it so it's not, the wings aren't flapping like that. I've never folded a wing either, and I've seen a lot of them fold out. Never pulled a bell crank out. Don't skip on controls. Skip, I can't believe them top 20 guys same guy pulled out a bell crank 2 years in a row, and the guy he helped build an airplane pulled his bell crank out too. Dumbasses. What the hell are you guys thinking?
That was like that one airplane that Samantha and I had just about done. It was a deal to where with the rule change, because I put the bell crank in, and that was one thing that I made sure that everything was perfect. And, I could have probably let her glue it in, but how I sanded all the parts and that I had perfect fit, and I epoxied it all in and stuff. But I didn't trust her to do it. Because if you don't do that, that shitting thing pulls out. You wasted all your time and money for something that simple.
I'll do a bell crank installation one more time for video. Watch how I do it. You don't even have to have perfect fits. Perfect fits only mean less glue. You could have a 1/4-inch slop and it would still never pull out of my airplane the way that it's done, with the compression spar glued into the top and bottom of the wing, the sheeting glued on top of the compression spar. It's like a big sandwich going through that. And then the fuselage has a brace on top and bottom.
Yeah.
So the push rod's sticking out this way, and on the bottom, sticking out of the wing, it's also braced inside the fuselage. Right. Top and bottom with 1/8-inch plywood. You don't even have to have, good fits, just good wood.
Yeah. Yeah, it just got to be done right. But these ones that will, where the the thing will pull out. I can't imagine it was a very good flying airplane if stuff was in there bending and moving and everything else, because you know that shit's all got to be moving before it finally let loose. It couldn't have been in there that rigid to begin with.
Well, you know, there is nothing new with what we're doing. Everything that I'm doing is 1950s technology. And if you look at the airplanes from the 50s, they were a whole lot better airplanes than they are today, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care these, you know, all the top guys. Well, I gotta have a pipe. They don't fly as good as they did when they were 40 ounces. It just does not make sense. You can't take a Volkswagen or a Cadillac and outturn a Volkswagen. It's just not going to happen. So, I don't know.
Well, look how many races Herbie won.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody said something over here. I wish you guys would join the chat instead of typing at me.
Yeah, I know it.
Oh, that's Jeff. Thanks, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with taper trailing edges. Moves the center of pressure forward. I've done it hundreds of times. It all depends on the airplane. They're not as easy to trim, but
yeah, usually when you gain on one thing, you lose on something else. It's always a balancing.
For semi-scale airplanes, swept forward trailing edges, you know, you basically have to have it.
Yeah.
The thing with the swept forward trailing edge is to make sure to get the center line of the wing exactly in the center line of the fuselage. If it's off, if it's canted off, if the fuselage is put on there crooked just a little bit, the flaps act really crazy and the airplanes start doing this nonsense in the air, walking, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a watcher of airplanes. If you ever watch me at the Nats, I'll watch all them airplanes fly, and I'm not looking at the pilot. I'm not looking at the maneuver. I'm watching how the airplane responds. Just like when I told Doran about clock time. His tail moment is so long, it takes forever to get around the corner. It's not really appealing to the eye. Instead of, you know, like that, it swings way around and then goes up. It just doesn't, you know. But if that's what he likes, whatever. You cut 2 inches off the tail and it'd fly a lot better.
Yeah. And I believe too that a lot of it is on an airplane is what one you fly the best. You know, that certain things that work for one person doesn't always work for another person. You know, people have different reflexes and just different everything. How they're looking at it, their height off the ground. I mean, it's super easy for Samantha to fly at 5 feet on level lap. She just got to fly in front of her eyes. That's 5 foot. She cuts in the middle of her eyes. That's 5 foot. You get somebody up there 6'5", they're flying. They got to figure out they need to, you know, they can't. They're looking at it at an angle now. Or if you're really short, you're looking at a different angle there. But, you know, I said it, you know, it worked out good for Samantha that her eyeballs are at 5 foot. Look straight out and bring it through the middle of your eyes. But yeah, I don't know. This goes, you know, with that, you know, telling Samantha when I used to shoot all the time, I had to shoot a gun that I liked. I couldn't shoot a gun that someone else liked. On trigger pull and how high it was shooting or low it was shooting or how fast I had to set it up for me. I couldn't anybody else's gun. I still think with airplanes too, you got to get one that works for you. with everything together.
Yeah.
You know.
I hope to discover what I like.
But you know what? Just like NASCAR, look at all these cars out there, and you take one driver and throw them in a different car, and they fucking can't drive it. I mean, there's just something about their style or whatever that, you know, you'd think that when Jimmy Johnson was winning, that if everybody on the team or you know, the other 3 teams were to set their car up just like his, which they could do, then they should all be 1, 2, 3, and 4. But they weren't, you know.
We're talking about NASCAR. I don't know whether you knew this or not. 1969 Superbird, the Plymouth that had the XX. That means that it was designated a Superbird. It had no headlights. It was for Daytona. You know what made that car special?
I don't know which car you're talking about.
The one with the wing, the Dodge Charger with the wing on the back.
Okay, yes. And the front with the point
nose on it. Well, that goofy nose on the XX model was 3/4 of an inch longer on the driver's side than it was on the passenger side. Wow. And that's the year that the templates come out, and all the cars had to meet the templates because they were cheating. Just like I build stagger into my airplanes. Well, they built stagger into the aerodynamics of that car. 3/4 of an inch.
Interesting. That's interesting.
The Superbird that's on the street, the ones that you see that don't have the XX as part of the first 2 numbers of the VIN number, are not real Daytona Superbirds. They're, a Dodge Charger with that goofy package on it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But the ones they ran at Daytona, that's the year that they started coming out with the templates, and all the cars had to meet the template, and they'd measure that shit. And everybody was looking for an edge. You could only have so many gallons in your fuel tank, but it didn't say how big your fuel line could be. They need 2-inch fuel lines and shit like that,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All them guys did goofy shit like that.
Yeah, that one car where they fueled it, it actually went across the car and came back and then came in the other side to fill up the gas tank, just so they could have a 2-inch tube filled with 3 foot of extra fuel.
Oh yeah. Well, they did fuel lines too, like I say, 2-inch fuel line. There's no need for it. It's the same thing with stunt. If it ain't written out in, this really gripes me about the builder of the model rule. Either we're going to have the builder of the model rule, which I think we should have, and you should build every part of your airplane. Not you can have, a wing built by this guy and a painted by this guy, and that's what got me into this hobby, was the building aspect of it. And everybody, if it's not written out exactly verbatim, everybody's always trying to break the rules. Doesn't matter what you're working on,
Yeah.
Drag racing.
The world is. That's why we have lawyers.
Yeah.
Fight back and forth on what the word means and where it is in the sentence and the paragraph and everything else.
It depends on what the word "is" means.
Right. That was the most honest thing in the world he said.
Yeah.
It really was. That was so honest. Everybody's like, what? And I was like, that's how the world works.
Well, it's stupid.
But it was the truth.
Give me a break.
The definition of is.
It either is or it is not.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way with lawyers. I mean,
lawyers,
and all 5 of them can come up with a different meaning of a damn sentence.
Do you remember the movie The Outlaw Josie Wales?
Yeah, I love that movie.
He's talking to 10 bears there at the end, and I've come here to die with you. Do you remember that part?
Yeah.
Well, that's the way it should be. Not paper. You know, that paper don't mean shit. If the man's word ain't no good, it ain't no good. And that's why these jerk offs say, oh yeah, I built that. Yeah, your ass, you built that. I can see that so and so sanded that. Give me a break.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, these fucking contracts in the union and shit like that. They had them lawyers taking notes to put notes in there what the intention was when stuff was written down on the piece of paper, so you can go back and prove what you were trying to say when you said it. Because people can twist it, you know. It's like, Jesus, you got more damn shit written down than, you know, it's just crazy.
What happened to the chat? I have lost my chat box.
It always goes away.
And there it is. In relation to the fuselage, how far back do you start the lead outs? Well, the lead outs have no relationship to the fuselage whatsoever. That's the first thing I'll tell you. This has been argued ad nauseum on Stunt Hangar. Does bell crank location matter? Some people say no, some people say yes. I'm in the yes camp. Anyway, doesn't matter where the bell crank's located, but the lead outs need to come back out of the wing about starting at 1 inch behind the center of gravity. So plot your lead outs coming out of the wing 1 inch behind the center of gravity. And that's a good starting point.
Every airplane except one, and that was one of them Vector 40s, and it was the prototype that we built for John there, and we flew it. We had the damn lead all the way as far forward as they would go to get that airplane to fly. And I don't know what that did, but if Samantha said it was the best flying airplane she ever flew. But everybody's like, why you got lead out so far forward? We had to keep moving them forward because of the yaw in it, you know, coming up over the top and shit. You could see it, you know, tension, and we had to keep going forward. So we had them all the way up to the front. And even Dennis looked at that and he's like, you know, we let them fly it and say, well, fly it, see what you think. And everybody's like, wow, it flies good. Why they were all the way up there? That airplane to trim like that to where you had to bring them lead outs all the way to the front.
Something's built wrong.
Something was different with that airplane, but it flew good. She loved the way that airplane flew.
Yeah, it don't matter where they come out as long as they're, you know, you got to think too. Even if they were 1 inch, you know, as far forward as they could be, I'll bet you they were behind the center of gravity. Had to be. Yeah,
you'd think. And I was wondering about, well, you know, that wing was put together in that jig or whatever. What's the belt? You know, like you say, some people say the bell crank matters where it's at. Other people say it doesn't. Was that bell crank put in a different position in that wing to where it made it trim out different? Because it was a prototype. You know, we built 2 other ones since then, and they're normal.
Well, let's talk about. We might as well talk about bell crank location to get everybody stirred up. I should put a bell crank thread on the Stunt Hangar. That's good for at least 200 or 300.
Yeah.
Replies, and let's see what he says here.
Yeah, 4 or 5 pages worth.
Oh, at least. Says in relation to that fuselage, how? Oh no, that's the same thing.
I'll be back, you guys. I can get some pie for my kids.
All right. Okay, now how do I plot bell crank location? Well, it's all math, really. If the wing, let's start with 10 inches. We can have a 10-inch cord, not including the flaps. Forget the flaps. A 10-inch cord. We're going to be about 30%, between 28 and 30% back for center of gravity on the wing. That's where the wingtip weight box goes. So find 30% or 3 inches back from the leading edge and measure that 7 inches at the root up. Go out to the tip, 7 inches out, make a mark, and put a straight edge across, 7 inches, so that the trailing edge and the straight edge are parallel at 7 inches out. That's where the wingtip weight box goes. Okay? Now, the belt crank falls just behind that. So you want to move back, say, a half an inch from that 7. So now we're at 6.5 inches back up from the trailing edge. That's where the pivot goes. Draw your line straight out from the weight box to the center point of the bell crank. That's where the center of the lead outs are going to be, approximately. That's the correct bell crank location, wingtip weight box location, and a good starting point for wingtip weight lead outs. Guys will say, well, it don't matter. You can put it back on the trailing edge. Go ahead and try it. And that airplane will feel so tail heavy, it's ridiculous. Because centrifugal force is going to always try to straighten or line those things up. So if you build it, the airplane, with everything lined up before you start, you're not going to have any goofy gyrations. When you make a turn, and the airplane's not going to go like that. Everything's trying to line up. So if you put the bell crank way back here, and centrifugal force is going to try to get it to all line up, what is that going to do? That's going to try to pull that airplane forward or lean it in towards you. Of course, I run 3 degrees motor offset. That's never going to happen. I can fly into the wind and do maneuvers because I have motor offset. And anybody that says that motor offset's no good doesn't know what they're talking about. If you're going to fly slow, back in the old days, they used to run 4 or 5 degrees motor offset. With a piped airplane, you don't need as much motor offset because you got more speed, more consistent thrust. But when you're running a 2.4, you need motor offset to keep the lines tight. Anyway, turbo force is going to try to straighten that crap up. And I don't care what Howard Rush says or whatever. If you put the bell crank at the trailing edge, it makes a longer lever arm from the nose, back of the spinner, to the pivot point of the wing. That fulcrum is longer. It's going to feel nose heavy, not tail heavy. It's going to feel nose heavy. You put it forward, it's going to feel tail heavy. Doesn't matter that whether it is or isn't. It depends on what the word is means.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is just my opinion. You can do it any way you want. I've built hundreds of airplanes. I know what it feels like on the end of the handle. So that's my explanation of bell crank location, lead out location, and wingtip weight box in the way that I do it. And you can do it any way you want.
Well, that's that's what I told everybody too. Is that why everybody wants to fly fast? They end up flying faster a lot lap times, is because you can fly a bucket on the end of a string, fill it with water, and start spinning a circle. That son of a bitch will fly straight out there.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with the damn airplane flying. You get it going faster, centrifugal force is going to take over it, and it's going to keep it out there. I don't give a shit if it's a bucket on into 2 lines. You might not be able to loop it, but it'll fly out there straight at the end of the lines. Like you said, all that shit tries to straighten out.
But them top guys don't listen to what I'm saying. All they want to do is argue with me. Okay, whatever, do it any way you want.
Yeah. Well, that was like, John DeTavio. He was saying, because he always flew the slowest of anybody I ever seen. He always fly 5.6. He thought like 5.7 even. But he said you had to have a really good flying airplane to fly it slow. So you can fly anything fast.
6 seconds.
Hey, dude.
Seconds. What's up, Rusty?
Not much. I'm just sitting here in front of the Christmas tree. Just dropped in to say hi. My mom wanted to see me on national TV, so I figured I would drop in.
All right.
No, I'm only here because you're not. So
I know.
We're
That's okay.
we're gonna
I showed a part.
torture them here tonight. We're all gonna have to kick in and fun stunt hanger here pretty quick. Hey, if I send you some money now on stunt hanger, put it in for 19.
Yeah, I just haven't made the badges yet.
Okay.
I'll make a post. I'll make a post so that everybody reminds me that it's donated, so they get a 19 badge. I don't have. I'm on my laptop, and I just don't have Photoshop on here. I got Paint and some really crappy programs, so I really can't make a real nice gift badge. So I haven't done it yet.
There's the Christmas
So
tree.
you having a pretty good Christmas, Rusty?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm over at my sister's house, so we're gonna spend the night here and get up and do Christmas in the morning, and hang out here
Oh, that's
for
nice.
Christmas dinner and everything tomorrow. So yeah, so far so good. We got here early this afternoon, and we just hanging out. So, what y'all been talking about tonight?
Everybody says Merry Christmas.
All right, Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm gonna drop out and quit bothering y'all. I'll see you later, though.
You ain't bothering us. I mean, it's good to have more people here. We can't get nobody on.
I've been
Yeah,
talking
I got
about
an email.
transportation.
I got an email from Gerald, and he's having an extremely weird family Christmas, and I'll guess he'll come back and tell us all about that later. But anyway, he's okay. We were wondering about him the other night, and he's fine. He's just preoccupied with crazy family business, and so that's why he hadn't been here. And so anyway.
I mean, Sparky is going to try to fire everybody up on Bell Crank location, and we'll see what else we can get him into.
Okay, yeah, heard him talking about it. Oh, hey Charles, how you doing?
Doing well. Just having some.
Hey, now we
pie.
got more guys. Are we going to start singing Christmas carols?
I think I'll sign out when we do. Okay, man, we'll see y'all Friday. All right.
All right.
Y'all Friday.
All right. Good night.
All right. That was good.
Yeah, my kids are trying to work me to open up some Christmas gifts. They're going, it's almost Christmas on the East Coast. I'm like, yeah, it's almost Christmas there, but it's 8:15 here.
The guy that asked me about the tapered trailing edge, that also goes into the bell crank location. The farther you move your trailing edge forward, meaning the farther center of pressure moves forward, meaning the farther you can run your lead outs forward. So everything moves forward when you move the trailing edge forward.
Oh, okay.
Now we used to swap the bell. I used to swap the bell crank around so that the lead out guy, the lead outs, the up line was on the front line.
Right.
That's no good.
That's no good?
No, I used to do it that way, but you can actually see and feel the difference in the airplane with the lead out on the backside, because most of the maneuvers are done in the upright position, from the upright position. What that does by turning the lead outs over, they were doing, see, all this shit came from the pipe motors. Dropping the lead outs under the center line of the wing, meaning that here's the edge of the wingtip, they want to drop the lead outs down a 1/4 inch. You know why that was done? Lateral center of gravity. They got the pipe hanging underneath the air.
That makes sense.
Well, that works. That was a good trim technique. But Billy decided, or somebody decided, well, we got to have 4-inch bell cranks because this airplane won't turn. We got to leverage it around the corner. So we're going to make a longer bell crank horn and a 4-inch bell crank to slow the controls down and get more leverage over them. Well, that's bullshit. If they'd have just lightened the engine up and lightened the airplane up, they wouldn't have had that problem. So they're trying to overcome this trim issue with mechanical advantage. A 3-inch bell crank will feel and work as good as a 4-inch bell crank if, one, you get rid of the nose weight. Concentrated weight is not any good. 2, you drill the hole, the pivot in the same relationship so that the controls move the same amount. For 4 inches of handle travel, you get 4 inches, not 4 inches of deflection, but the lines move 2 inches. That's what it is. 2 inches this way, 2 inches back that way. And you can do that by how close you drill the center line to the pivot point of the push rod. The horn length to try to leverage those big flaps around. Less flap means the airplane's going to turn more, but the airplanes have got so big they've got to have all that flap because they weigh so damn much. So you're in that Galdini roundhouse, so you got the barbell here. Well, we got to add weight here because we got weight over here. We got oh shit, we got weight over here. The airplane's bigger. We got to put more paint on it. It's going more and more and more. Pretty soon it's a turd. just the way that it works.
Doesn't the 4-inch bell crank help you in the wind, though? I mean, you have more leverage over the plane in a strong wind.
I will guarantee. I'll let you fly my Continental. You'll think it has a 4-inch bell crank in it. It doesn't. It has a Vico 3-inch bell crank in it.
Okay.
You can't tell the difference because they're set up the same.
I always use a 4-inch bell crank because it comes in the kit.
Yeah, whatever.
But really, that's why. If a 3-inch one came in there, you'd have a 3-inch in it.
I use the Steve Wilk 4-inch bell crank because it's the lightest thing I can find. It's only 7 grams. It's lighter than the aluminum Vico bell crank.
Like you
actually put the 4-inch bell crank in my Nobler and in my Twister.
Now, a lot of these airplanes come, like you said, with the upline being forward.
Not good.
I always spun them around, and everybody's like, "I ain't supposed to. They don't fly as good." And I'm like, "We always fly off of grass. If you get one weed that hits that airplane and hits that upline on takeoff, freaking stall."
Well, because your maneuvers are done in the upright position, most of your maneuvers are starting in the upright position. When you pull up, it's flying on one line. You guys ever watch that? Watch the airplanes, and you'll see all these guys flying on one line. That ain't no good. You got to be flying on both lines. So
yeah, that makes sense too.
I always think they didn't try to put them right on top of each other.
Pardon me?
Have a slider with the lines stacked right on top of each other.
Bob Palmer did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did the Tempest, the Bart Kaplinski. I think they were stacked as well.
The Smoothie and the Thunderbird were line over line like that. But they also had something stupid too, that like these other guys are trying to invent. They had differential flaps. That ain't no good. It just make the flap bigger on the outboard side. You're carrying around all that extra weight to try to get rid of a problem that you don't have. We were talking, John and I were talking the other day, back in the day, I used to use aluminum push rods. And people, well, that ain't no good, they'll bend. No, they won't if you stuff them with balsa wood. Why try to reinvent the wheel? It's lighter than carbon and just as strong. That's what I'm going to use on this next one, aluminum.
Interesting.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but
got it right. Oh, it's right here.
Now you said that in some of the old pattern planes from the late 60s, early 70s came with aluminum stuffed with balsa wood in them.
Shit, I lost my piece of aluminum. I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is. Yeah. You take this 3/16 aluminum. Doesn't weigh anything. Lighter than carbon. Now, it's pretty stiff as it is like this, but you stick balsa wood in there, it's real stiff. And I don't fill them up with glue either. Back in the day, they used to just run 3/32 wire with retainers on them, some guides. But that's too heavy. Not only that, we're making the tail moments longer now. You got more wire, so you got to have something to stiffen it up a little bit. But And if you think about that, back in the 50s and 60s, the moments were 8:13. Today, they're 10:17. Notice anything different? I mean, it's the same shit. All the numbers are relative. Bob Galdini wrote a good article called The Barbell Effect. And if you can read that, it's a real good article about what's going on with these big airplanes that we're doing. Lengthen the nose, lengthen the tail, make it stretch it out bigger and bigger, more paint, more. Just, it's a loser.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
watching TV too, Steve?
Huh?
Are you watching TV also?
No, well, I got it on, but I'm not watching it.
Oh, okay. I can hear TV. I was just wondering if it was you.
Yeah, I can.
I think I covered some of this stuff on my Nobler design video I did.
Well, that's what Bob Hunt always says. Everything's just a big nobler. Basically, nothing
You know
is.
what made that airplane fly good?
What's that?
You know what made that airplane fly good?
What's that?
40 ounces.
40 ounces.
That's exactly right. Closer you can get to 40 ounces, the better the airplane is going to fly. It's just simple. It's, these guys, especially these aerospace engineer guys, oh, it doesn't matter how big, how much it weighs, or just, that's so stupid. That doesn't make any sense at all. If you got a 3-pounder, a 2.5-pound airplane moving this way and you want to change the direction, or you got a 5-pound airplane moving this way and want to change direction, which one's going to change direction first? I don't care how much big the controls are, how much power you got. It doesn't matter. The little one's going to turn quicker. So simple. Shorter the nose, the quicker it's going to turn. Shorter the tail, quicker. Just like a combat wing. Yo, yo. No.
Jeffrey Riley, he says that he's building an Aries in an old school manner.
I-beam, very good. I think I have a video on building an Aries on my channel somewhere. I know that if you go to Stupid Stunt, I have an 11-day Aries thread where I scratch built an Aries in 11 days during the holidays about 10 years ago.
Well, I know Bob. He's going back and he's going to do another not Cavalier. Well, Caprice. And it's like with you on the Viper. You always said that one Viper was your best flying airplane. It's like you're always chasing stuff. Why not go back to what worked so good?
I might go back. I built a bunch of Vipers. I think the best Viper I had was that one in the '91 Model Aviation magazine. Yeah, that was a real good one. I was running a OS FP40 on a less nearing pipe, Bob McDonald wraparound header. That airplane weighed 40, I think it was 45 ounces. That was a good airplane. It had swept forward leading edge or trailing edges too.
But that's sometimes I'm wondering if you get away from stuff so much that if you just go back, how much you would really appreciate what you had over always looking for the newest, the greatest, stuff like that.
Well, this latest thing that I'm working on, developing, it's coming real close to what I want. This so-called Junar lookalike series. They're if I could lose 10 ounces, it would be the tits. But I can't figure it out.
That's like with shotguns. I mean, they make all these shotguns. My shotgun was designed in 1932. by Remington. It was a Remington
Just
30.
as good as today's shotgun, doesn't it?
Huh?
Works just as good as today's shotgun, if not better.
I think it works better. But I mean, it's been since then them trying to improve things to where it no longer improves it. I think a lot of ways it makes it worse. It's very simple and straightforward, and they can try all this other fancy stuff and this and that, but there's a lot, there's a lot of people that's won with that gun, and they still make them today. Now it's called a K80, but it's a copy of a Remington 32, and the parts will go back and forth. Some take a little bit of filing and stuff like that, but basically it's the same exact gun.
We got a drill press at work from the 1920s, and it was belt driven by a steam, well, not by steam, by a hit and miss engine out in the back. They had belt, pulley system overhead, and then the belt went down the drill. We're still using that drill press with an electric motor on it. That thing is great. it's you can't kill it, it's just great.
But and that was the same thing at Guardsman, that they had the pulley system through that whole building run off of steam. Well, then when they changed over to everything electric, they got rid of part of it, but the front half of the building still had the big pulleys and the leather belts and all that kind of stuff. It was just run off electric motor, and you just knock the belt off when you wanted to start it, knock the belt on when you wanted it to run. But they had to change them. Well, we got to go with this new stuff. Nothing but problems. Motors quit. Gears went to hell. We get blamed for not PMing them enough and all this kind of stuff. Like when the old ones were there, that was 100 years old. We never had to work on it. You grease the damn thing once every 3 months, and bearings never failed, and nothing ever went bad. We never replaced a leather belt, anything. I mean, it was just crazy.
We have a shear and a brake that are from the 30s where I'm working now. I don't know how much it would cost. You couldn't replace those things for less than $100 grand a piece, They still work perfect. What kills those machines is operator error. You get new guys coming in, well, we'll just stick this in there and step on the pedal. Well, shit, it won't cut 2-inch thick stainless steel. It's only sheet metal,
Yeah.
Dumb shit like that. That's what, and you can't fix stupid.
And we had the old bank building downtown here, and it had this huge, it was a 40 horsepower motor, but this thing was just massive. I mean, huge. And it had a big old leather belt that went to the exhaust fan. And it had like a pulley looking thing on it with weights that kept the belt tensioned, pulled down on the belt to keep it. The motor finally quit at 110 years old. Wow. That had ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in that bank building.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It had big old automatic oilers. It sat there and rocked them, and after so many counts, it'd drop a drop. Well, somebody on that motor went and put some different types, why, I don't know, something else on there, burnt the bearings out, the motor, gone. But if they would just left it alone and let it work, but I guess one of them little ratchet things had wore out. Instead of having another one made and putting it on there, they tried something else, and motor's done. But that thing sat there for 110 years and just ran. Worked. Yeah. Exhaust fan for that 10-story building. I mean, or 7-story maybe. I think that's 7-story. But yeah, it just sat there and ran 24 hours a day. But people want to do something different. Probably the motor they got in there now, and everything has probably had to been replaced since it was put in there 10 years ago.
Okay, we're talking about longevity and how things used to be made. I remembered this, and I came to it, and it says, an incandescent light bulb recognized by the Guinness World Book of Records as being the longest burning light bulb in the world is still glowing strong days after celebrations making its 110th anniversary. The Centennial light bulb at Fire Station Number 6 in Livermore, California has been burning bright since it was installed in 1901. And we can't get a light bulb to last a month.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that light bulb was actually made by Edison.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that he actually, you know, when he developed the light bulb or whatever, then he was making it there for a while. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they said that that's been burning and it never shuts off, I guess.
Right, it just stays on all the time. 110 years. We can't get one to last a month.
Yeah, now they say that these LEDs will last for 10 years, and they don't either.
No, they're junk. The LEDs don't burn out. The little transistors inside there reducing the voltage.
Now my battery powered, you know, lights, you know, and stuff like that are all LEDs. They last longer, and they seem to be fine.
I got a flashlight called the Big Larry. And I'll tell you what, it has LED strip lights inside it, and it is bright as hell. But it has 3 little double A's inside it, and it smokes those batteries in about 30 minutes of using. So what good is it? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, our mechanic was messing around. Was it Thursday? No, I don't know what. Monday. No, today's Monday. It had to be Thursday. I'm all messed up with the holidays. But he got a new DeWalt, and I think is it 20 volt? I can't think, or 24 volt, I guess. DeWalt new stuff.
20.
And it has 5 LEDs in there, and that thing is so bright that even the shop was lit up. He pulled the trigger on that thing at me in my eyes, and I couldn't see nothing. It was like a flash bulb 2 inches from me went off in like the old days, a flash bulb where you see these spots all over.
Yeah.
He goes, isn't that thing something? I'm like, oh my God, that thing will actually hurt your eyes.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, electricity's real strict. You guys know who Nikola Tesla is, right?
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla, 100 years ago, you owe everything that you have to Nikola Tesla, and nobody understands that. Edison wanted to use DC current instead of AC current. Nikola Tesla is the inventor of AC current. Well, Westinghouse and General Electric got together, and you know, Tesla died broke, basically. They bought his patents and screwed him. And so Edison went to this, you know, alternating current. Well, Nikola Tesla believed that there's 600 volts of electricity around us at all times, that he could extract electricity from the ground. So he went to Chase Manhattan Bank and got the money to build this tower in New York, in his workshop, and he was transmitting power. Well, the bankers said, well, where do you put the meter? And Tesla says, well, there is no meter. It's free electricity. And they shut him down and put him out of business and tore that tower down and all that. Well, the Tesla car company now in Texas has one of those towers, and they're testing his invention. But you watch, you're not going to get free electricity. Somebody's going to screw us. But it's there if you're smart enough to get it.
Wow.
That was like in HPC, everything is building management. Well,
you can find a YouTube video on that tower in Texas. All you got to do is type Tesla Tower, Texas in YouTube, and there'll be it. You know, they show you that tower, and it's amazing. I study, you know, I really liked what Nikola Tesla did because everything, Marconi stole the radio idea from Nikola Tesla. You know, everybody has stolen. Tesla was 1,000 years ahead of his time, and he was the smartest man alive, right? As far as I'm concerned, beat Einstein all the hell.
Yeah, when it comes to doing different things. Well, yeah, that's like proportional radio control. He was it 1902 at the World's Fair, demonstrated that with a sailboat, and everybody thought he was crazy or whatever, did nothing with it until the 70s. 60-some years later, somebody picked up something, his writings or whatever, and said, holy shit, I wonder if this would really work. And he had made one, and it worked. But nobody...
The bad thing about Tesla's inventions is he never wrote anything down. Everything was in his head.
Yeah.
And all his patents on his death were bought up by the Navy, by the military.
Well, they said that Westinghouse almost went out of business. And he came to Tesla and told him, you know, on his patents, we're going out of business or whatever. So Tesla said, fine, signed off on all of his patents, gave it to the world. They said that if he hadn't did that, that he would be worth $100 billion. That was what the world would have had to pay him on his patents. And he died broke, like you said, a pauper. I mean, he gave all that shit away, and nobody would even pay for his apartment.
Yeah, he died in a motel.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh my God, you know, they knew what he gave away to the world, and the world, you know, wouldn't feed him or anything. It was just crazy.
Well, Edison wanted to use DC current, and if you know anything, well, you know about electricity because you work in air conditioning. If DC current were to have to be generated at a power station and delivered to my house here, you'd need a wire about a mile in diameter. Not a mile long, a mile in diameter to carry all the amperage. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the other thing is you can't transmit it very far. You'd have to have a damn power plant every so many blocks.
Right. Well, the selenium rectifier actually came from Nikola Tesla. He knew that the you know, current was in a wave above the line, plus and minus. It went on a oscillating wave. So he made a selenium rectifier and just, you know, chopped that down, and that's what, you know, turned alternating current to DC current. He was a brilliant guy.
Yep. Yeah, now they use what diodes can do that too. Take AC and turn it to DC because it only lets shit go through in one direction.
Right.
So yeah, they do that. Well, that's how like furnaces work. We rectify a flame. That's from Tesla and shit. Is that the flame creates a circuit. They run DC. Well, when the flame flutters, it gives it like an AC. It looks like an AC current. But that was from
all lights. All your incandescent lights are at 60 hertz, oscillating. You know.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, that guy was smart. I was watching a thing on TV about him, and they were saying that the military and everything kept all of his. When he died, they swarmed his
yeah, took all his shit.
Yeah, his room, and they said they cordoned everything off, carried it all out. No one's ever seen it again.
You know, a light bulb has more RPM than the sun. Do you have a tack?
Yeah.
Take your tack and shoot it at the light bulb and see how many RPM you get. And then when you're out in the sun, shoot it at the sun.
I never tried it. I know that we used to test our tacks that way because it would come out 60.
60 hertz, yeah.
Yeah, so that give you 60 RPM. Or no, it doubled it. Wasn't 120 RPM? Is that how that worked?
I just know that the light bulb has more RPM than the sun.
Yeah, I forget, but that's how we used to check tacks, you know, for we used to use them in HVAC on setting RPM on pulleys and all that kind of stuff. But I always liked the one that had the little wheel on it, and you just poke it into the shaft to see what the damn thing's turning. I mean, that's turning that fast. That's turning that fast.
You probably don't remember Vibratac. They used to have a tack you look like a screwdriver with little things on the end, little fingers on the end of it, and you put it on the top of the head of the engine, and it'd vibrate and to tell you how many RPM it had.
Good.
Mm.
See if I can pull up a picture of it. Come on. I remember all kind of shit. I used to watch Sky King as a kid, and I just happened to run across the thing on YouTube about Sky King in memory of everybody who died. That ended in 1955.
I still have my timing light from when I was a kid, and I think it was somebody made it out of a Heath kit or something.
Oh yeah, Heath kit. I made a radio.
It's just round. I don't know who made it. I bought it at a damn garage sale when I was, I don't know, 16 years old or whatever. I still have it. It still works.
And they got some YouTube videos, Vibratac YouTube videos. They don't look like what I saw, but I guess it's the new model. But all that old shit, I mean, it's old 50s technology. I don't know that I told you guys this or whatever, I get nostalgia for different shit. Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah, here's a YouTube video. So stupid. Control C. I'll put the link in the description box and the chat. There you go. The Vibratac. It's a goofy little thing, and a little thing going like that. That's how we used to tack our engines. But I get to thinking about shit. We had this 49 panel we used to deliver the Los Angeles Tribune, or the LA Tribune newspaper, and my dad and I. And it had a 6-volt battery system. And you couldn't tell whether the headlights were on or not. You'd have to hold a match up to them to see if they were working. They were terrible. That 6-volt system was absolute shit.
Okay, I didn't know that's back when they had generators instead of alternators and stuff, right?
Right. 6-volt batteries, three cells. Each cell is 2.2 volts. And they had 3 cells in the battery. It was a great big old square battery with 3 lead acid cells in it. And the engine, the starter pedal used to be underneath the gas. You push the gas pedal all the way to the floor to get the starter to go, and it go like one or two turns, and then it'd run. It had inline 6 in it, or maybe it was inline 8. I think it was inline 6. And this old panel, the lights on it were absolute shit. I don't know. You couldn't drive it hardly at night. Had one tail light, and if you weren't right on top, you could hardly tell whether the light was on.
Yeah, I remember back when I was a kid working at a body shop and stuff, a guy came in there with a 53 Ford, and it had a straight flathead 6 in it. And the guy had updated it. He was happier and shit. He updated it to 12 volt. He made a starter that would work on it, and the battery and the lights and all the shit he had to do. But he was so happy that car now was a 12 volt system instead of the 6 volt, because he hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's a link in the chat box for the Vibratac. You can see it working on YouTube. That's the original one that I gave the link to.
All right.
And it's only a minute long, that video. It's kind of stupid. But that's the kind of shit we used to deal with.
Yeah. Now it's like a couple weeks ago, I put into this big ass pump to line it and everything. And I just use a really good straight edge, shine light behind it. And if I can't see any light, then I know everything's parallel, you know, from the two halves or whatever. And they're like, hey, you should have, you know, the new computer laser ones and stuff like that. And I'm like, I just do it this way. It takes me less time, and we don't have any problems.
It works.
Yeah, you know, the couplers last for, I don't know how many years. They don't wear out. But everything's going, you know, to the new ones. They asked me about it, and I said, more than likely, with the guys doing it now, and we, you know, even now with me, once or twice a year, I'll line a big pump. But when I worked at Guardsman, I did them all the time. You know, I did hundreds of them. So I know how to do them. I said, for the new guys, I can go through and train them and stuff like this, but unless they do it, they're going to mess up. To where these new laser ones you hook on and hook to the damn laptop, you can't mess them up. Well, you probably could, but you ain't supposed to be able to mess them up.
We got a guy at work that asked me the other day. He said, oh, no, he didn't ask me. Yeah, he did. He was there, standing there with his phone. He couldn't, you know, was working on getting his phone over. He said, how much is half of 29 and 29 and a half? I said, 14 and 3/4. He said, shit, I couldn't get my calculator up there. You know, if they don't have, if they don't have the calculator, they can't get their shit together. I said, man, you got to think. He said, well, how'd you figure that out? I said, well, what's half of 30? He said, 15. I said, it's a half-inch left. What's half of a half? He said, you know, a 1/4 inch. I said, well, there you go. 14 and a half plus a quarter is 14 and 3/4. Duh. It's dumb. People they're not taught to think anymore. So stupid.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, I forget. I do that with Samantha all the time. You know, they'll give her, you know, 20% off or 33% off or whatever. You know, what is that? You know, and it's
33
just,
times 100. That's what it is.
yeah, you know, and it's like, you know,
If it's $2, it's 66 cents.
yeah.
Duh. Got to answer a guy here. Had an old knucklehead, and that was a project. Yeah, they were a project, all right. They made the knucklehead till 1936. Actually, 37, because it was a split year. Wait a
What
minute.
is a knucklehead? I thought he was talking about a person.
No, it's talking about a motorcycle. No, see, 36 VL, I had one of those. They made the knuckle at the same time. The ULH.
That's where that came from. Knuckleheads were just so crazy or whatever. They started calling people knuckleheads.
No, that's not why. Actually, it came from Knucklehead Smith and Jerry Mahoney. But that's another Paul Winchell deal. Do you remember him?
I heard of Paul Winchell, but
Knucklehead Smith and Jerry Mahoney. They were dummies. Anyway, I'm trying to remember. So I had it wrong. Excuse me. 36 to 48 was the knucklehead. 49 came the panhead. Because I had a 36 VL, which was a 74-inch flathead side valve. And the reason why the knucklehead came about is it was the first motorcycle with a closed oil system. The 36 VL had total loss. It had oil on the left-hand side of the gas tank, and it dripped out on the ground, and it was a mess. So knuckleheads are quite a project. Yes, they leak everywhere, but you can build them so they don't leak. Anyway, good luck on your knucklehead project.
they're cool looking though.
They make, you can buy a twin cam motor with knucklehead tops. 35, yeah. Yeah, they were pretty cool.
So the pan head, then it went to the Evolution.
No, shovelhead. It went JD, which was a you know, around 61 cubic inch round cylinder with kind of goofy looking head on it. Outside single exhaust valve push rod. Then it went to the UL and the VL, which was a flathead with the push rods inside the cylinder. Then it went to the knucklehead, which was the first engine with the Oilers. Message deleted. Then it went to the pan head. Then it went to the shovel head. Then AMF bought them, and they ran AMF for a while. And then came the Evo, and then it went to the twin cam. So knuckle pan, shovel, Evo, twin cam. Now they got a 4-valve engine that's water cooled, and I haven't been around them, so I don't know, blockhead or whatever they're calling those stupid things.
Yeah, my cousin had a Super Glide that it was a mid-year. The last, it's so crazy because it had a motor, it had the bottom part of a shovel, and then the top part of the Evo. Somehow they put that, it was just a weird motor, and they only put them in so many bikes. But it came with a 4-speed, and the next year it was the true Evo with a 5-speed. But it was at half a year on that one motor they did something.
That's incorrect, but I know the year you're talking about. Let me answer this guy. His was in a 36 frame, which was a single down loop frame with a 46 engine. Yeah, that's all right. The motor you're talking about is a generator case shovel head. And that was 1969. So if it was a Super Glide, it probably, no, a boat tail wasn't until 70, 72 or 73, I think. So I'm not sure exactly what the fenders look like on that, but I know the motor you're talking about because my club brother has a pan head with a shovel head top on it, the generator lower. Now, the bad thing about that is, you know, the motors look the same, but the internals are different. The pan head and the 68 and 69 shovels were single bearing. It wasn't a bearing, it was a bushing for the pinion on the cam side. It wasn't a bearing, it was a bushing. So that's not a good engine. It's, you know, looks cool, but it's not a good engine.
Yeah, he got that one before that came out. He sold it to a guy. We seen him here, oh shit, 2 or 3 years ago, and he's still riding it, and he's never done nothing to it. And I forget, he had 80,000 miles on it, but he just loved that motor. But I don't know, a half year in, you know, engine on that thing and how it worked or whatever.
We got a guy in Missouri when I was working at Widman Harley. He came in and he was so excited. He goes, I got a new toolbox. I got a new toolbox. So he wrote a JD. I think it was a 29 JD. Had white tires, white rubber tires. Had to have them custom made because they don't make that shit no more. They were 26-inch or whatever, you know, but looked like a bicycle tire. And he rode that thing all over the place. But he comes in, I got a new toolbox. Okay, let's see what it looks like. His name's Toby. I go up there and look at it. And here's this thing, looks like a beat up old Army ammo can. The paint's falling off. He goes, yeah. I go, hey, this looks like shit. He goes, yeah, but it's original. Dale, who bought, well, I worked for Surdike which was gateway to the West Harley Davidson, they bought Dale's in Mount Vernon. Well, Dale moved his museum to somewhere in South Carolina or whatever. But Dale, I used to go up and fuck around with him a lot. He had all kind of shit in there. He had Harley Davidson cement mixers and Harley Davidson golf carts and Harley Davidson. Oh man, he had all kind of shit that Harley made. Harley tried to make all kind of crap. Didn't work. Everybody pisses and moans about AMF, but if it wasn't for AMF, Harley Davidson wouldn't be here today.
Oh, I know it.
AMF was American Machine Foundry, Japanese Harleys, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Like I say, if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be Harley today, so they ought to be thanking them. There was a cookie sheet they used to deliver to us in the showroom to put underneath the brand new motorcycles because the fit and finish was so bad, those stupid things leaked from the factory.
Yeah.
Terrible. But there is a fix for that too.
Well, that's like that one year I went to North Dakota there, Sturgis. And some of them old bikes leak so bad, we're at the gas station getting in line to get gas. One guy dumps his bike down because the bike in front of him dropped so much damn oil. And he wasn't paying attention, ran through it, put the brake down his bike goes. Like,
everybody thinks that it's engine oil. Well, some Harleys do leak engine oil around base gaskets and rocker box gaskets, but most of that oil that's underneath those bikes is from the transmission. What happens is the older 4-speeds didn't have a bearing in the fourth gear. And when they went to Evo, they went to an INA bearing and a seal so that main shaft would stay centered in fourth or fifth gear, depending on which model it was. Well, the fix is to take your fourth gear out of your shovel head, take it down to the machine shop. You have to have the bronze bushing removed and then have them grind. You can't turn it because it's too hard to metal. They have to grind the inside the land and put 2 INA bearings in that shaft instead of that bushing with an Evo main seal, and it won't leak those puddles of oil anymore.
oh, so it wasn't really the engine leaking, it was just the transmission leaking.
Transmission oil,
Oh, okay.
90% of the time. Unless you saw some rat bike that, the base gaskets are leaking, the head gaskets leaking, the guy's got his oil tank oil lines put on with a coat hanger, that kind of, which happens. But 90% of the time it was transmission oil or primary oil, because the primaries were real bad for sealing too. Because what happens is the tin primary, like on the pan head and the knuckle head, the tin primary, they over tighten them. They go, well, I keep tightening and the gasket's coming out. It's got to be tight. It's so far over tight, the gasket's mushed out and the oil's coming out of it. Dumb.
Yeah, when I was a kid,
9 o'clock. I'm gonna get back to my kids.
already
All right.
So Merry Christmas, you guys.
Christmas.
Merry
Let them
Next
at least
time.
one present tonight.
Yeah, one present tonight.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later.
All right, take it easy.
For you guys that are watching this that are Harley buffs, there isn't anything I don't know about a Harley, but I'll give you something to look up. All Harley Davidson rods are 7.77 inches long. Doesn't matter which model either.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, 7 inches, 777 thousandths from center to center. 777.
So what, they changed stroke and stuff by the crank then? I take it?
Stroke is measured by crankshaft diameter, how far offset it is from the center of the crankshaft to the crank pin is how much your stroke is going to be.
Oh, okay.
And then they shorten or lengthen the skirts of the piston so they clear the flywheel.
So why did they come up with 777?
Beats me, I don't know.
No one knows that.
Nah, I don't have a clue. I'm
Easy.
also probably the only guy that you ever talked to that's had his hands on #1 motorcycle. We used to go up, the Bob Connors smoking room is above the Bob Connors smoking room in Milwaukee was the Archives. And we used to go up there, Bob Knievel's bikes were up there, and #1 and all that shit. And the funny story about the Archives was, the owners of the new corporate, yes, 777 is on your 1200 Sportster. Yes, that's how long the rod is. In the Archives, we used to look out the window and there'd be a pile of trash out there. Well, one of them executives come down from upstairs and said, "Hey, you guys got to get rid of that pile of trash back there." So, okay, they follow the directions and they go out there and they threw all that shit away. So another executive comes down, "Hey, where'd that pile of trash go?" "Oh, we took it to the dump." You dummies, that was the original factory. They had taken the original building down and piled it up out and back, and they just ended up throwing it away. So if they got one, I haven't been up to the Milwaukee Museum. I do know that it opened. If they got one as a replica there, it ain't the original, because the original got thrown out. So if they're passing it off as the original, that's a lie.
Original what?
The original factory.
Oh.
The original factory was a shed. It was, like 20 foot by 20 foot, just a little wood shed.
Oh, okay.
And they threw it away. If you go there to where I'm talking about, this is where all the tech schools are taught. And if you go there, they got cases and wheels and all kind of crap back there that is thrown in a big pile, and then once a month they come in with a front end loader and load it all up and take it to scrap.
Oh, okay.
The executives threw all that shit out.
Well, I think I'm gonna get off, Sparky. It's after midnight. We did a pretty good hit tonight.
Well, I got to talk about something that I really know about, motorcycle.
Yeah. That and bell cranks, so.
Yeah, oh yeah, that'll get them going. Bell cranks. All right, guys. Merry Christmas. Thanks for
Christmas. Yep, and it's Christmas now.
The rest will appear Monday as normal, and I'll see you in the new year. So,
all right.
fair winds, tight lines.
Yep.
See you.